Hi, so I thought I'd give a talk about why I did a marathon and why I've got this medal. So last year in 2019, I did the Loch Ness Marathon before lockdown, and basically the reason I did it is because I enjoy achieving things, and I started this thing a few years ago where I try and get a medal every year. So every year I try and work towards getting a medal, and it just felt like a real achievement when you've got one. So that's why I've done marathons, half marathons, triathlons. Yeah. So I would say you name it, and I've probably done it, but that's not the case because it's literally just done triathlons, half marathons, and a marathon. So a marathon is basically where I'm drawing the line. I'm not going to go any further, and the reason for that is because of my own health. It's bad for your knees if you run too far, and also bad for who can be bothered to run that far. Basically, the reason I did a marathon was to tick it off the bucket list, say that I've done it, and also partly at the time my boyfriend at the time had done a marathon, and I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. So I signed up, set myself a challenge, and for me, I work best when I have a deadline. So if I have a date that I have to be ready for, I'm going to be ready for that date, because if I get to marathon day and I haven't done any training, then I'm pretty much screwed. So you need to be prepared. It's kind of good, it gives you a bit of a structure and a bit of a determination. Like, the only thing I'm ever really determined with is like finishing something, like finishing an event or going to an event and doing it, trying my best. It's always important to try your best and to do what's best for you. Basically, when I started the marathon, I'd done a half marathon a few years before, got the medal for that, and I just thought, I've always wanted to do a marathon, always said I'll do a marathon, just took it off the bucket list. I thought it was something I'd do when I was a bit older, but I'm 26 now, I was 25 when I did the marathon, so sort of like 25 miles when you're 25, 50 miles when you're 50. Don't think I'm going to achieve that one. And so I'm proud of myself for doing it. It was quite a mental challenge as well, because you do have to push yourself and you have to come through some serious barriers. My boyfriend at the time, so he'd done his marathon, and he was like, I'll train with you, we'll run together on your marathon training and everything. He didn't do a run with me the entire time I did my training. So I went to a running club in Kent where I was living, and I said to the woman, oh yeah, I'm doing this marathon in October, I don't think I need to start training till June. And then they said to me like, oh no, you should do 15k this weekend. I was like, God, 15k this weekend? I can't be bothered just going out and doing a 15k run. And they were like, well, if you can't do 15k, you can't do a marathon. So I was like, fine, I'll do my 15k. So that weekend I did 15k, and then every other weekend they gave me a programme where I should build up 2 kilometres every other weekend. So I think I did actually do 15k, but then I think I went to 18k just so I was on even numbers for the rest of the time. So I did 15k that weekend. The following weekend I think I did 15k, then 16k, then the following weekend 15k, then the following weekend 18k, and I kept building it up every Sunday. So I'd still do stuff in the day, like basically I'd get up early in the morning, go out for a run. Like later on in the end, it got to like going out for a run for like 4 hours, which was like, ugh. But after those 4 hours, I was like, could do whatever I wanted with the day, really. I think me and my boyfriend still went on adventures and still did our usual weekend trips. It was just a bit harder for going away. You could go away places, but you had to be back to make sure you did your run, or make sure you did your run at the right time. And I was really lucky because I got to run along the river in Kent where I was living, and the weather was quite nice, so I was pretty lucky. The thing is, I was training in Kent along a flat riverbed in the summer, in the nice sun, and my run was in Loch Ness in Scotland in October. So the weather wasn't quite what I was used to running in. It's quite funny actually, the first run I did along the river, it was one of the first ones I did. There was some cows in the path, and I got to the point and I was just like, I'm not really sure how to avoid these cows. It got a bit scary because I was like, how on earth do you move a cow without it kicking you or whatever? But luckily, brave Jen got past it, overcame that hurdle. And actually on marathon day, like, I was really scared. Like the night before, I was just like, oh my god, have I eaten enough? Like, is the food alright? Like, there's loads of things that you're meant to think about, and have I thought about them all? And like, I think there's so much panic behind doing a marathon or doing things like that. Like, I get like pre-stage jitters. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm just like, oh my god, really scared. Really nervous, like kept asking questions to my parents. I think they were getting a bit annoyed. I just wanted everything to run smoothly, and I wasn't sure whether they could watch or where they could watch. And like, I had to get up early. I had to get up at like 7 o'clock on marathon morning. Like, I had to get dropped off at 7 o'clock. Then we got a bus that dropped us off. So I got dropped off at a bus place. Then the bus took me to the start of the marathon. But basically between like 7 and... I didn't start the race till 9 or 10. And between that time, I had to be careful. Like, I had to already have eaten. And I had to be prepared because, as I said, I was in October in Scotland. So it was raining in the morning. And we all got dropped off. And we had our raincoats on and everything. But then I had to make sure that I left my raincoat in the van because the lorries took all our bags for us. But obviously I didn't want to run with my raincoat, and I obviously couldn't leave my raincoat. It was all very kerfuffle. But also, needing the toilet is a major issue for me because I always need the toilet. So before the marathon, I was just like, oh no, where am I going to go to the toilet? I had to pee in the bush like 10 times, and then had to keep going back and being like, have I weed enough? Am I going to need a wee when I'm running? Like, all these things that go through your head when you're at the start of a race. It was quite fun though. So the buses dropped us off. I was chatting to some guy on the bus, like I normally do. He offered me some grapes, but I think I was all right. And so everyone got off the bus, but you could stay on the bus. And I was like, well, it's freezing outside. I may as well stay on the bus and keep myself warm until I very much have to be outside in the cold. So I think you were supposed to stand around in the cold for like an hour, and I delayed it till half an hour because I stayed on the bus for half an hour. And then there was like bagpipes, it was raining, there was like this band playing bagpipes, and they were obviously from the school, and I heard the girl being like, oh my god, why are we here? I do not want to be here and stuff, because the weather was so horrendous. But then it was really nice when we actually started the race, the heavens opened and like the sun was out and it stopped raining. And basically for the whole race, like, I was just kind of running along, enjoying everything. Like, I think that's the important thing when you do these races, like, to just embrace your surroundings and enjoy where you are. Like, you're doing it for fun or for charity. I did raise a bit of money for Macmillan. This is the top that I wore during the marathon. That's my name, Jen. So yeah, I raised quite a bit of money for Macmillan. I didn't raise as much as I should have done, maybe. Like, I feel a bit guilty because I am quite selfish when it comes to running and events like this. I don't raise that much money for charity. I do it more for myself and for the achievement. But also it's kind of nice to know that you have helped someone and helped some people. But yeah, so I was chatting a lot to some people as I was running because I was pacing myself quite well. And I was just admiring the scenery, really. It's beautiful. Loch Ness is a beautiful part of the country. Like, Scotland is just beautiful, full stop. But it was really nice marathon. I was really lucky for where I was. And yeah, it's just... I would recommend it. It was very hilly though. So Loch Ness was very hilly. So obviously I'm used to running on the flat by the river, very nice scenery, lovely sunny, and then I was running on hills. Like, so my guy at running club, I think he like warned me, he was like, oh, have you read the course route? I was like, not really. And then I read it and was like, oh my god, there's so many hills. And then I was just like, I am not prepared for hill running. So I was panicking a bit about it. And literally at 18 miles, so after you've done 18 miles, there's 2 miles of uphill. And I'm not kidding you, this hill was like proper steep and it was just going on and on and on. But I was very proud of myself because I did not stop. Did not stop throughout the whole marathon. But it was intense. But the good thing about it was it was all downhill from there. So when people say there's a 20-mile, I think they say the 20-mile barrier or something, like for me, after that 20 miles, it was all downhill anyway, so it was fine. Like the worst bit was already over, which was good. And it was just nice to just chat to some people, and I made a few comments about the lake, and you could hear people speaking different languages. People come from all over the place. Like, people had fun fancy dress costumes. Like, it's all just nice to soak up the atmosphere, and everyone's cheering everyone else along. I luckily timed it quite well with my parents as well, because I needed to take my jacket off, and they managed to find me in the town, the one place where you could spectate on Loch Ness Marathon, and they managed to find me, and I could give them my jacket, and then I carried on running. But a few days before the marathon, so my penultimate marathon run, I had some knee issues, so I had to go and get some sports massage, not therapy, and I got my knee taped, and basically they said don't do a marathon. And then on marathon day I was like, well, I'm gonna do a marathon, and I got it taped the night before we went to the showground, and they taped it up for me, and I was fine for the whole run, which was good, except for the last few meters. So I think at the end, it must be about 200 meters or something, you come to the river, and you basically run around the river and finish. And just as I got there, like, my knee really kicked in and started hurting, so I had to limp like most of the end of it, but I didn't stop, just went very slowly. And then obviously my favourite part of any race is the sprint finish. So even though I'd been limping for a while, I think it was the last 5 meters, I just did my sprint finish. I think I overtook someone, but I'm not sure. But I was very proud of that moment when I did my sprint finish, got my medal, nearly collapsed in a heap. But at least I can say that I've done a marathon. So also, people might not be into running and you're trying to push yourself to go jogging or push yourself to do stuff, but I'd say don't do running if you're not into it. Find something else. It's not for everyone. The reason I do it is because I have no hand-eye coordination, can't really do any other sports, and it's something that I'm actually good at, which is a surprise because I'm not good at most things, but I enjoy it. And the reason I run is because I can and I enjoy it. I don't want to push myself too much because I could cause injuries. There's a lot of injuries that you can get from running. I currently have some blisters on my feet, so I'm not sure about my run tomorrow, how nice that's going to be. But yeah, the reason I run is for enjoyment and for my own mental health as well, because it gives you time to think and it gives you time to just switch off from everyday life and just think about what you actually want to do. And getting these achievements makes me feel proud of myself and makes me feel like I can do anything. I can run a marathon, I can run a half marathon, I can do a triathlon. It's just important to find something that makes you happy in life. And for me, that's marathons and running. Not marathons, but running and achieving things. But for other people, it might be something else. So don't force yourself to run if it's not your thing. But if it is your thing, good luck. And good luck if you want to do a marathon. I can chat to you about it. I wasn't the best marathon runner, but if you want some advice from a genuine person, that's me. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Nice to speak to you all, and see you later. Bye.